This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
I'm Smiley the dog. I am a mutt. I'm Smiley the dog. I'm super smiley. I have a cat, 2 sweets, the travel kitty. And a big girlfriend, Angel's really pretty. I have a pony, we share a big horse. We have a big yard, yeah, we have to, of course. I have a pool. In the summer I stay cool. To a fountain, live in the mountain, live high on the hog. Need to be a spokesdog. I'm Smiley the dog. I am a mutt. I'm Smiley the dog. I'm super smiley.
Woof and Super Smiles. Welcome to a Super Smiley Adventure on Pet Life Radio, the largest pet radio network in the world. I'm Megan Blake, the pet lifestyle coach, here with my awesome sidekick, Super Smiley. He's a 2-time shelter dog and the ambassador of kindness. Super Smiley and I tour the country helping people find the right pet for their lifestyle. Then we help train them so they keep that pet forever. Smiley is an amazing adoption advocate. He's a shelter dog, and that's one of our missions. As well as one of our missions here is to show animals as healers and teachers. Also, our show's called a Super Smiley Adventure because we know that animals lead us on amazing adventures if we are just open to it. And today, Super Smiley's taken me on a great adventure. We're staying right now in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we've driven down to Charlotte, North Carolina to see the Pup Star World Tour film, the film premiere here in North Carolina. It's by Airbud Entertainment, which is so awesome because Robert Vance is a very, very good friend of ours, and we've covered some of his movies, their premieres in Los Angeles, and now we're in North Carolina, and we are so very excited to be here, especially because we are with one of the stars, Kaitlyn Mayer. Hey, Kaitlyn!
Hi! How are you?
I'm good. Now, Kaitlyn, we just saw your movie, and it was so wonderful. It stars dogs. There are a few human stars, but it's mostly dogs, right?
Yes, it's awesome. I love dogs. It's a perfect movie.
It is. And I was just giggling. But one of the representatives from Airbud asked me afterwards, he said, did you like the movie? And I was the one who was laughing in the audience. We got to sit right next to each other, too.
Yes,
right?
It was fantastic. It was awesome. I was laughing right along with you.
And Kaitlyn, there was somebody else sitting next to you, too, right?
Oh, yes, Super Smiley. It was so sweet. He fell asleep right at my feet. I was trying not to kick him the whole time. It was so sweet.
He was a baby.
Oh, so
he's such a baby. And Kaitlyn, oh my gosh, first let me introduce you to our audience. Kaitlyn, I don't know if any of you are going to remember this, but Kaitlyn was in America's Got Talent when she was 4 years old, and you sang the most beautiful song. What did you sing?
Well, I sang a number of songs. I was the youngest top 10 finalist ever on the show, and I sang a bunch of songs ranging from What a Wonderful World to Somewhere Out There to I'll Be There, and it was a phenomenal experience, one that really kick-started my whole acting career, which has been incredible, and how I've been able to do this movie, Pup Star World Tour, today, and so I'm really grateful for that experience, and it was awesome, definitely.
Somewhere Out There. That's the song I saw on YouTube. Everybody, you have to Google that because it's right there when you did Somewhere Out There. Kaitlyn was 4 years old, and she was the youngest one, and she said, to make the top 10 in America's Got Talent with all those professional adults. It was amazing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then another part of your introduction is continuing with your introduction. Kaitlyn, oh my gosh, she's a seasoned actor. She's been in Santa Paws, Part 1 and 2, the film, Santa Buddies, Pup Star 1, 2, and 3, and 3 is Pup Star, the World Tour. She's also been on E.T., Access Hollywood, The Today Show, and we just mentioned America's Got Talent, and she's the child ambassador for Compassion International. And we're going to talk more about this film, but Kaitlyn, first, you started your television career and singing career when you were 4. Were you just born knowing that this was where you were going to be?
Actually, it all sort of started as a fluke. I always loved to sing since I was really little. And since the time I was about 1 or 2, I'd always loved to sing in the car, sing at church, whatever, just like sing around the house. But then what ended up happening was, it's this really long story. But
tell us.
Okay, so basically what happened was, my mom was pregnant with my little brother, and so some family members asked us to post a video on YouTube of me singing Happy Birthday to one of my extended family members, because we couldn't go up to Canada where the birthday party was at because my mom was pregnant with my brother. And so we said, okay, we'll post the video on YouTube, which we did, and at the time YouTube was relatively new, and so just after that, about 6 months later, my family gets a call from an NBC casting agent who says, we'd like to have your daughter come on the show. And initially we thought it was a total fluke. My parents were like, oh, this is probably a child predator. This is a total scam. And they ended up calling the agency to report it and saying, oh, this has got to be a scam.
Are you serious? Your mother actually called to report this prank call?
Yeah, she actually called NBC to report it, thinking that it was identity theft and some child predator trying to prey on this little, almost like just turned 3-year-old.
Tiny child. Tiny little child.
Exactly. And then they picked up and they said, oh, it's so good to hear from you. My mom and dad were floored.
And then her mouth just went, what?
They were shocked because it had just been this little video of me singing Happy Birthday and one other song, I think the national anthem, on YouTube, on this YouTube video. And YouTube was so new. But anyway, so they asked me, they were like, do you want to do this? And I was like, oh, yeah, because I was 4 and I was so happy about it. So I ended up going on the show. And
what did you sing for your very first audition or premiere on the show? Do you remember?
So my first audition was in New York City, and it was in front of 1 or 2 casting agents. And funny thing is, I don't actually remember what I sang for that audition. I'm sure I could find what it was somewhere.
I love the Somewhere Out There song. That
Thank you so much.
Your little voice is like, somewhere. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
But we were talking, you're a little tiny little child, but you're right on pitch, and you're just so sweet and so beautiful. It was amazing. So then what happened? Finish the story.
So I made it past the first audition, and then I went into the second one, and they said, okay, do you want to sing something else? And so I said, oh, okay. I said, I can sing Ave Maria.
And that's gorgeous with a child's voice. Oh my gosh.
And they said, well, okay, you're going to sing Ave Maria. And I said, I'm going to sing it in Latin. And they were really, really, they liked that a lot. They were
blown away.
So that ended up getting me onto the live shows, which were started after you had the Vegas rounds, and then we moved to Hollywood, and that was an incredible experience. It ended up getting past top 20 and then into the top 10, and then that was just such an incredible experience for me to be able to, as a 4-year-old, who I wasn't crushed when I got eliminated or anything like that, because I was 4. I mean, nobody was expecting a 4-year-old to do well.
No, this is unheard of.
It was really, really amazing for me, and I feel so blessed to have had that experience, that God just put me in that position that I could actually be able to do that, because that really helped carry a lot. That's how Mr. Robert Vince, who directs these movies, ended up seeing that video and on live TV and saying, oh wow, we want her to be in a movie. And so that sort of is where that all started.
And it all started with singing Happy Birthday, right?
Yes, Happy Birthday.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I was just talking about Super Smiley leading me on adventures. I think you have led your parents on grand adventures.
Yeah, definitely. It's all over the world, from China to Africa to honestly all the places mentioned in Pup Star World Tour. So if you watch the movie, any place that's mentioned on there, I've probably been for one singing engagement or another.
And I love that you mentioned Pup Star World Tour, because the film starts out and ends with this cool song about, is it one pack, one voice, one world, right?
Yeah.
Can you just sing that little riff there?
Oh, sure.
It's so catchy.
I see stars all around the world. It's like home everywhere I go. I hear music everywhere. And there's one thing that I know, we're one pack, one voice, one world. And we're singing in harmony. One pack, one voice, one world. And we're singing in harmony.
That is so beautiful.
Thank
you. Have you have a CD out too as well, is that right?
I released a CD right after I went on America's Got Talent when I was about 5, and so it's actually really cute. You guys should all go check it out. If you like the songs that I sang on America's Got Talent, then some of those and some others are on that CD, and as well as 2 songs that I wrote when I was really little, which are really, really cute, because one is in honor of my dad. So little 4-year-old me was like, oh, I should write a song for Daddy. So I did. It's called Daddy, I Love You. It's really, really sweet. I listen to those songs all of the time. I'll probably dance with my dad to that at my wedding someday.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And we want to hear more about your music and more about your movies and more about working with dogs, because this is Pet Life Radio. So we're going to be right back with all that. Smiley, can you wait? Good boy.
Awesome.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network on the planet, joins forces with iHeartRadio to put the power of your pets in your pocket. Awesome! Download the iHeartRadio app and rock Pet Life Radio on your phone, on your tablet, on your Xbox, in your car. Pet talk, pet tunes, and fun pet times. Pet Life Radio and iHeartRadio. Positively Possum.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
And we're back on a Super Smiley Adventure at the premiere of Pup Star World Tour with the star, one of the stars, Kaitlyn Mayer. Hi, Kaitlyn.
Hi, everyone.
So, Kaitlyn, you were just telling us all about your singing and how your grand career started when you were 4 years old.
Yes, it was an incredible experience.
And from the singing, now, how did you get into acting? How did you get into, we're working our way to working with all these dogs, but how did you get into acting?
Right, so I briefly mentioned how Mr. Robert Vince, who is the director of the Pup Star movies and a bunch of the Air Bud series, watched my America's Got Talent audition and said, oh, well, we need to have her on the movie. And so what ended up happening behind the scenes there is that his casting agent called our family and my manager at the time and said, well, we want you guys to come and we want her to play this role in this movie. And at the time, that movie was Santa Buddies. And it was...
What was it called? Santa Buddies? Santa Buddies. I actually remember that film. So cute. And we love Robert Vince. Shout out to Robert. Hey, Robert.
Hi.
So tell us about your role on that.
Yeah, so basically I played a little dog and it was fantastic. And I need to go back and watch that movie because I don't remember everything about it.
Now, was that your first time doing voice-over voice work?
That was my first time doing any sort of movie.
And how old were you then?
I was 5.
What?
Actually, I just turned 5. I just turned 5 at the time.
That's still tiny, tiny, tiny.
I was so young, and I remember.
Were you old enough to even read? Like, how did you know the script? How did this even work? Because that's a tiny little child, right?
It was. It was really. I was so small. So it was interesting because I learned to read pretty early, and so that wasn't that big of a problem for me. That was how I ended up learning the songs for America's Got Talent and things like that, because I'm a very visual person. So since the time I was really little, if I look at something on a page, I can memorize it quicker.
Cool. Very good. Yeah.
But when it's in the form of song, I can pick it up pretty quickly because I've sort of like trained myself to do that over the years. But it was really neat because I ended up going into the studio, and after I did Santa Buddies, they said, oh, well, we want you to come back and do Santa Paws. And that led to Santa Paws 2 after that.
Santa Paws. And I love Robert Vince's films, Air Bud films. So let's talk just a little bit about his films and the dogs. Did you get to work with any dogs, or were you just voicing them? What was that like, your actual work?
So it was really neat because on Santa Buddies and some of the Pup Star films and Treasure Buddies and some of the other ones that I played voices on, I didn't work with the dogs as much hands-on because I was more doing work in the studio. So I ended up working with the dogs later on in the productions of that, not while I was actually filming itself. So I did that more of the work with that when I was doing PR work for that, rather than when I was actually in the studio recording it, because it's totally different experience.
Oh, when you were doing the PR work, you mean you toured around with the dogs?
I toured around with the dogs, did some
So what's it like touring with dogs? Tell us about your experience with the dogs.
Well, it was really, really, really incredible to tour around with the dogs. He's just having a dog just sitting with you, and I remember when I toured for Santa Paws and Santa Paws 2, which both of those I actually did work on set with the dogs, like worked with them on a daily basis, learned from the trainers how to train them, give them treats, all that.
You did? You learned a little bit how to train the dogs? So what was one of the first things or one of the tips that stood out for you about training dogs? Do you remember anything?
Well, I remember how to show the dogs how to sit and how to roll over and all that. And most of the dogs who were there, they had already been trained. They were dogs who they had been pre-trained, and then they were called and cast to work on set. And they had multiple dogs who were playing the different roles, which was incredible. That was so neat. And I remember just being able to, them offering me, them saying, oh, well, do you want to have one? And I said,
what?
Yes.
They offered
and
you a
my mom
dog?
said no. And I was floored.
What's that?
I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But we traveled
You're
so
like, these
much.
are my buds. These are my buds.
But we traveled so much at the time, just from all those tours and just going around the country to do interviews. It just wouldn't have been fair to the dogs. So looking back, it was the right call. But
so
it was fun.
what is it like working professionally with dogs? Because these were not just your pets. These were like literally your associates on the film. What was it like working with dogs?
I think that you
Dog
learn
actors.
a lot of patience. I mean,
Wow.
I love working with dogs, so I've never had a problem with them. I know a lot of people are scared of dogs or something like that, but dogs are honestly so sweet. If you have dogs who are trained to know how to behave around people, it's honestly, dogs are so awesome. They're fantastic. And just like being able to, having to sometimes rerun scenes or go over things a few extra times because, the dog ran off, or the dog needs more water, or the dog chased after something that it saw in the corner. Like, that's all part of the fun and part of what brings the set together. Because, having something so connected and tied around animals is something that connects everybody, no matter who you are or where you come from. And so that has been really, really amazing to see and also how it brings audiences together once the movie is released, having these dogs at these premieres and just seeing these kids go up to these dogs and that they're elated because that is what they know and that is what they love. And that's why these people love these movies, is because it's these pure family films and they see these animals that they love just being portrayed as these awesome creatures, which they are. And that's just super cool to see how that ends up helping teach these kids so many of these awesome morals and lessons that come from all these movies that Mr. Robert has done and more. So that's fantastic.
You just touched on so many things, Kaitlyn, that's our theme and that I've learned from animals. You touched on how pure they are, right? You just look at them and then you said the word connect. Animals, I think, help us connect with them and then help us connect with ourselves and with each other, right?
Definitely, absolutely. I think that there's no doubt that just like I remember when there were some times when people were having bad days on set or when they weren't feeling well because, when you're together with people for 2 months on end, and sometimes everybody goes through their days where it's like, I'm a little groggy this morning, or not feeling so well because it's -2 degrees in Fernie, Canada, where we're trying to film.
Oh my gosh.
But it's so cool to see how these dogs will just get you form bonds with them. And I remember being so sad, crying the last day that I was about to leave the set of Santa Claus 2 because I was going to miss the dogs that I'd worked with, and that was really sad for me. Because
they become your family.
They did, and I still remember some of their names. Like there was Cotton, and there was Blanket, and I don't know why I still remember that, but you form bonds with those animals.
That's very, very, very sweet. I love that. And like you were talking about doing multiple takes. Smiley, he just poses for the camera, right? We know that.
Yeah, he's so cute.
He's very cute. But even with a dog, it's like, Smiley, look at the camera. So you have to do even more takes when there are animals involved, right?
Absolutely. And then when you have more than one of them, it's just
oh my gosh.
Each trainer is simultaneously doing their different thing, it's unbelievable how it all comes together because you see these dogs doing these different things in the movies and doing these dances, and everybody's just of course they just set that up.
Those are actor dogs. They can do it. Right?
They can. They actually. It's unbelievable because you see these dogs. They're actually doing that. They're actually performing it, which is it's incredible, and they love it. It's clear that these dogs, they're not being overworked. They're being treated so kindly. They honestly have the best lives ever.
That's right. They're the star
loved
dogs,
on.
right?
Yes, they are so loved.
Exactly. I love all of this. You've talked about working with the dogs, and some people don't really want to work with dogs. Every once in a while you run into someone like that. This is way before your time, way before my time. There was a very famous actor, long time ago, named W.C. Fields. And he always said, I will never work with children or dogs because they steal the show. But it's because they're so spontaneous. And I think that's what it's all about. When you were a little girl, everybody loved you, and Smiley and all the dog stars of the Air Bud movies. Do you agree it just brings a spontaneity in life?
I totally agree. I think it's just never knowing what the dog is going to do, never knowing how they're going to react to a certain situation. There's you can practice with a dog all you want, but when that animal actually gets onto the set and you actually start rehearsing the lines, you never know what it's going to do, which is amazing because, I've never seen the dogs, act out or anything like that. They're so well-mannered, so well-behaved, but it's hilarious because sometimes there are times when we're filming a scene and you see the dog do this bizarre thing, and everybody just thinks, wow, this is going to be great in the show. The directors write it in, mark that take, we're going to use this, even though it was totally unscripted, in the actual movie, which is so fantastic just because makes it so real.
Yes, really real.
Sometimes what you end up seeing in these movies is that even though this one part that just totally makes the scene was actually not scripted at all. And it actually was just spur of the moment, just completely spontaneous.
I love that. I'm an actor as well, and directors will often say that the accidents are where the treasures are, and that's exactly what you're saying, right?
Definitely, honestly. It definitely is.
Well, Kaitlyn, we're going to take another break and hear more about your acting, more about the movies, more about the Air Bud films. Super Smiley, can you wait? Good boy. He's wagging his tail.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back, right after we kibble a little with our sponsors.
Want to know who the latest trendsetters are in Hollywood? How about Irish setters? Find out who's been spotted with Spot, chowing with their chow, and shopping for Gucci with their Poochie. Get the scoop on all the latest celebrity pet patter right here. Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets. Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, this is Robert Vance, the director of Wrestle Madness. You're listening to a Super Smiley Adventure.
And we're back on a Super Smiley Adventure with Kaitlyn Mayer at Pup Star World Tour, the premiere in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Kaitlyn.
Hi there. So glad to be back.
So, Kaitlyn, you are a television star, a movie star. You have a singing DVD coming out, but you also are the child ambassador for Compassion International. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So when I was about 5, Compassion International, which is this organization that helps feed, clothe, and educate children living in poverty around the world. They do some really incredible outreach missions to be able to help these children who are less fortunate be able to have great lives and to be able to advance their social situations, which is phenomenal. They do amazing work. But anyway, they reached out to me and said, we'd like you to be an artist ambassador for the organization. And I was the first ever child ambassador to ever partner with the organization, which was such an honor and just so incredible for so many reasons. But I ended up taking a trip with them to El Salvador, and while there I ended up sponsoring a child named Lisbeth who lived there, and it was an incredible experience because the day after I sponsored her, I got to meet her at the orphanage.
Wow.
Not at the orphanage, but at the mission center that we were at, which was an unbelievable experience. And from there on, I've gone on to raise a lot of money for them over the past few years, gone on to be able to do projects to be able to collect malaria protection kits, mosquito nets, to be able to get livestock for the people there, to be able to raise money to give them food and clothes and education. And that has been such an unbelievable opportunity. Because honestly, I think that if you just live your life in a bubble, if I just took being in these movies as just like, oh, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, or even if it wasn't, I'm just going to do that and that's going to be it, I wouldn't be able to have impacted these people. And I think that for me, that's the bigger thing, because if I'm able to make one child feel happy with one of these movies, if I'm able to travel to Africa and be able to play a Pup Star movie for kids there and see their reactions, or in Honduras in an orphanage, and just bring these kids just a little bit more joy in their life, that to me would be like so successful. And that is why I do what I do. And I think that Compassion International, it's a phenomenal organization. I definitely would encourage everybody to support it. To sponsor a child, it's really inexpensive. It's honestly so amazing and so worth it.
Tell us how to do that. Tell everybody.
Oh yeah, so basically if you go onto my website, you can...
What is your website?
My website is KaitlynMayer.org.
And spell that so everybody can...
KaitlynMayer.com. Sorry, I said .org. It's .com. Or also onto my social media, which is just Kaitlyn Mayer, spelled the same way as for the website, KaitlynMaher. It's Kaitlyn Mayer on Twitter and Instagram, and also Kaitlyn Mayer Official on Facebook. So if you go onto any of those, you'll be able to find links there to my Compassion part of the website. So if you go on there, then you're going to see links on where you can click on Sponsor a Child, and I believe it's only something like $30 a month, which is like, I know that it sounds like, oh no, $30 a month, but I mean, like, come on, we could really go without that Starbucks cup of coffee for 3 mornings, or like that one video game. And I think that when you're actually doing something that this stuff really impacts kids' lives, like just getting a letter from somebody who's their sponsor to let them know that like there's a reason to keep living, that despite their economic or financial or social situation, that there is still hope for them, that is so unbelievable.
And you got to actually go there and see some of the children. You saw it with your own eyes, so you know it's real, right?
Yes, I mean, it's so powerful. And I would obviously encourage anybody to take a trip to one of those countries. Just your eyes will be open, but even if you can't take a trip, which I totally understand that, obviously, like, just knowing that you can do something, even here in America, to make a difference is so incredible. And actually, while I was there, I filmed a music video called You Are Meant to Be, which basically talks about how, like, you are meant to be, and you can, like, no matter where you come from, and that is how God made you, that is how you are, and that's what matters. Like, you are loved.
Kaitlyn, can we find that video someplace?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find that on my YouTube channel, which is, once again, just Kaitlyn Mayer.
Or you can find You Are Meant to Be, Facebook. Right? What a beautiful title. And Kaitlyn, I'm just so, how old are you?
I'm 14.
Kaitlyn is 14, I want everyone to know, and she's just so beautiful and so poised, and you obviously are so well-spoken, and this mission that you are on is something that most adults never find their purpose in life like this. How did you do this? Were you just born with this special wisdom? I mean, really, it's a real question. How on earth did God just give this to you? What do you think?
Thank you. I mean, I hesitate to say that I was just, like, born with anything, because, I mean, I don't know. Like, that's, only God knows that, honestly. I don't know. But I know that every morning when I wake up, I think, I'm not just saying this to sound like, oh,
no, tell us. You are on a very special mission, so tell us what you do.
To be completely truthful, I wake up every morning and I say, I want to impact one person's life today. And whether that be just in a little smile or a little wave, like, I've always thought about it as one little small action that might be so meaningless to you that you might not see as actually doing anything. It might just be a little wave that lets some other person know that somebody in the world notices them, that they are noticed, and that regardless of how well you know them or whatever, like, they care. Like, somebody out there actually cares about them, which is so crucial. Like, we all need that in life, and so many of us are able to get that, but so many of us are not and don't have that on a daily basis. And so I think just providing people that, whether it be through movies, whether it be through working with animals, whether it be through just bringing that along to them, that is an incredible opportunity.
I love that, Kaitlyn, and I want to tell you something that Super Smiley does. We have a kindness program, and I think you would love that, because we impact people with kindness and teach kids kindness through pets. Like you were talking about pets, that you learn so much through working with the dogs. And Smiley's kindness video is at kindnessfilms.com, and everybody can go and watch that. Smiley, his latest one, it won a Peabody Awards nomination, and we worked with the University of Georgia and State Farm and did his Super Smiley Flash Mob for kindness. And who knows, Kaitlyn, maybe if we're in the same city again, you can join our Flash Mob. You can star in our Flash Mob.
That would be amazing. Yeah, it sounds so cool what Super Smiley is doing. Like, just being able to have that, and I know that, like, since he's an animal, obviously, since, like, dogs have so much more of an influence than any human can have, just, like, bringing that, it's just a special kind of energy, like, that impacts people, you know? But I think that that's amazing. And definitely, like, I would encourage anybody who is looking for an opportunity to be able to reach out to definitely, like, partner with you guys or however that ends up working, to be able to just bring joy to people. Like, you love animals, you love dogs, like, find a way to be able to make a difference. And it sounds like your organization is doing just that.
Thank you, Kaitlyn. And I love what you just said, too, in the bigger picture, that everyone can find their lane. Everybody can find their niche. Even if it's something simple, just choosing to be kind, open the door for someone, hold the door for someone, or have a big mission. Like, your mission is massive, but we all can make an impact, whether we're young like you, or we're adults, or we're a dog, right?
Absolutely. It all starts in the little things, because, I heard this quote once that said that the big things are just a bunch of little things that make a widespread difference. And I honestly think that that's honestly what life is about. Like, if you just do a bunch of little things just to do good in the world and just make your mark, like, that's awesome. That's going to all add up in the end. And that's just you're going to, like, know that you lived life to the fullest, which is, like, that should be the end goal. That should be, like, nothing else should matter. Like, who cares how much money you have or how rich and famous you are? Like, just try to make people happy. Make the world a better place.
I love that you said live life to the fullest, and we also say embrace life. Live it and then just really embrace it. And just even saying that, I literally have chills, because it's like, I feel my energy just go up.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly, no regrets. No regrets about life.
And Kaitlyn, back to the dogs. Tell us one more time, what did you learn? Did the dogs teach you anything? Did you learn anything from working with all these doggies?
I think what I learned is that you have to accept and you have to embrace people who are different than you, embrace situations in which you might not be comfortable. And I think that the big overarching theme there is just step out of your comfort zone. Like, initially, I was little. The dogs would jump up on me all the time.
And you were tiny.
And I was tiny. I was so little. And they were just being so affectionate. But they would jump over me. Sometimes I would fall, and the trainers would be like, come on, Cotton, get over here. Like, don't jump up on the little 4-year-old. But it taught me to just see things for what they really are, and take that, even though when I'm having a bad day or whatever, see the dog, see the animal, and just know that there's hope. Know that you can impact others. Just know that that is pure energy and pure joy, and that's what you can just learn to accept that, learn to be able to take advantage of that, and learn to be able to cope with different situations, learn to work with dogs, learn to work with a different animal, and be able to become equipped to that. Don't shy away from that, but embrace that.
I love that. And pure energy, pure joy. I don't think you can say it any better than that, Kaitlyn. And Kaitlyn, once again, you were just magnificent in the movie. Pup Star's World Tour. We love it. So everybody go check out Pup Star World Tour and go to kindnessfilms.com. Check out Smiley's little documentaries for kindness. And Kaitlyn, tell us your websites again where everyone can go follow you and find out all about your mission.
Definitely. So check out my Instagram, which is just Kaitlyn Mayer, my Facebook, which is Kaitlyn Mayer Official, and my Twitter, which is also Kaitlyn Mayer, as well as my YouTube channel, which is, you guessed it, Kaitlyn Mayer. And just also check out, if you want to see more about Pup Star World Tour, check out Airbud Official on Instagram and across their YouTube channels for more videos of dogs and animals. And not just dogs, cats, all these other different types of animals, too, that you will absolutely love. In fact, I even played a camel once, so you can find some camel videos there, too.
Wow. And I love that you mentioned Airbud again. It's Airbud Entertainment. Thank you to Robert Vince for creating all these amazing films and for inviting a Super Smiley Adventure, me and Super Smiley, here to Charlotte to cover this movie today. We're so excited to be here. And everybody can follow all of our information on MeganBlakeOfficial.com. And we want to give a big thank you to our super producer, Mark Winter. Thank you, Mark. Thank you again, Kaitlyn.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
And from all of us here on Pet Life Radio, until next time, woof and super smiles.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.